We're joined now by the Head of Personal Finance at AJ Bell, Laura Suter. Laura, hello to you. Let's go through some of the findings that have come out today. There's so much new information about the economy out there at the moment. Let's drill into these unemployment figures first. The new data showing that the UK's unemployment figures had fallen to its lowest rate in decades. Can you put this into context and explain the significance and importance of this?
Yeah, of course. So if we look at, this is the unemployment rate going all the way back to the 1970s. And what it shows at this end, which is the current day, is that it's dropped significantly. So we're at a lowest rate for almost 50 years. It's 3.5%, which usually is a very good thing. That's usually a positive thing. However, what we're seeing at the moment, if we go on to this next slide, is this red line here shows the number of vacancies, so the number of companies trying to hire at the moment with job vacancies. And the blue line is the number of unemployed people in the UK. Now, if we look at the end here, they've crossed over, which effectively means there's more vacancies than there are people to fill them. And that obviously presents an issue for companies, but also for the economy. Yeah,
so that looks like that's going to be an ongoing issue. Can we talk about people that are economically inactive and why that is? What's the story behind the stats?
Yeah, so it's not a very catchy phrase, but effectively there's three groups of people. People that are in employment, so that have jobs, people that are unemployed but they're looking for work, and then the economically inactive, which are people that are out of work but they're not looking to get into work. And that could be for a variety of reasons. And what we see here, so over nearer you, is that economic inactivity rate that you can see is ticked up a bit towards the end. And here we have the age breakdown of the people that are economically inactive. And what we've seen is there's been a big rise in the number of younger people who've been economically inactive. And then more recently over here on this side, we've seen more of that older generation being economically inactive. And that's kind of largely down to two reasons. For younger people, it's more of them going into higher education, more students, and then particularly around the pandemic, there were fewer opportunities to go into the job market, so more people stayed in education. But then also this blue line is what's concerning. That's the long-term sick, and we can see this big increase here, and it's actually the highest on record for the number of long-term sick that are economically inactive at the moment. And that's the figure that's particularly worrying at the moment.
OK. What are the wider implications of all of this, then, when you put them all together?
Yeah, so if we go to this next slide, which has lots of colours on it, but this shows the breakdown of people that are on universal credit, and it shows whether they're in work, and this big red chunk here is people that are no work required. So that's people that have been assessed for universal credit and it's been deemed that they can't work. Okay. So that could be due to long-term sickness that we talked about, or caring for people that are long-term sick. And what we can see is that's increased dramatically. So that has a big impact for people's personal finances because they're reliant on universal credit, but also on the government's finances because that's a large chunk of people that won't be going back into work that are on universal credit.
OK, Laura, thank you. Really interesting, just putting those figures into some kind of context for us today. A lot of new information out there. We're breaking it down for you here on Sky News.